Hello again and welcome. Today we're going to replace a failed drive in the mirrored boot pool of a TrueNAS-Scale server. Here's my NAS server running TrueNAS-Scale, or what is now called TrueNAS Community Edition. This server is running Electric Eel version 2410 and was installed last year. If we look at my boot pool status, we can see the pool is a mirror and one of the drives is failing. We need to detach the failing drive from the mirror so it can be replaced and reattached. FreeNAS is the precursor to Scale and included a Detach option in this menu where you could detach the drive from the mirror and leave it as a single drive boot volume. Scale only has the Replace option, which I could use if I had another drive already installed. Since I don't, I can only detach the drive from the mirror using the command line. And for that, we need to open up a shell. We can open a shell directly in the web UI, but I prefer a separate terminal session, so I'm using PUTTY to open a secure shell. Let's confirm the boot pool status. And just as it shows in the web UI, we can see the mirror is degraded and SDF3 is the failing drive partition. But which drive is it? The only reliable way to determine a failing drive is by the serial number, as most drives have at least a portion of their serial numbers printed on them. Here I'm using LSBlock to give me the name and serial number of all my attached drives. Here is the serial number of the working drive, and here we see the one for the failed drive. We can also get this information from the web UI when we look at storage and disks. And here again is the serial number of the failing drive. So now we are ready to detach the drive from the boot pool. Now, if we look at the boot pool status again, we see it is no longer a mirror, but just a single drive. And when this page is reloaded, we see the same thing in the web UI. So, with the serial number in hand, let's shut down the server and replace the failed drive. Okay, here is the drive that's failing. These don't come with serial numbers printed on them, so I labeled them during installation. By the way, serial numbers are reliable when printed on the drive. At least I've never found a drive where the serial number reported by the OS was different. But some drives don't have the entire number. I've seen hard drives where only the first 8 characters of the serial number reported by the OS was printed on the drive. And sometimes the serial number is not to be found on the drive at all. But if the number is on the drive or you've labeled it as I have, you can be confident the drive you pulled is the right one. Of course, once the drive is detached, you can just pull one out and fire up the server. If it boots, you pulled the right one. You got a 50-50 chance, and a boot failure is most likely harmless. Personally, I prefer not to gamble. This is a 64 gigabyte SSD, one of 2 that make up the boot pool, and here's its replacement. Same brand, same size. These are cheap, and I use them for the boot pool of all my servers, so I have many spares. Now I'm going to get this installed and fire the server back up. Okay, the new drive is installed, and we can now see it on the web page with its new serial number. It also has the same disk name as the drive that failed, but that's not a guarantee, so I do not recommend labeling drives with the name reported by the OS. As I said, serial numbers are reliable. Now we're ready to attach the drive to the boot pool, which we can do by using the Attach option. And there you have it. The failed drive has been replaced, and the mirrored boot pool has been restored. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you next time.